Indonesia Google Cloud again, and also Alex Budiyanto, the chairman of Indonesia Cloud Computing Association, with our moderator, Sabarinathan Sampath, the Chief Strategy Officer for Wire19. So this is going to be a very interesting discussion. So I'll pass it over to you now, Sabarinathan.
Thank you, Letsa. Good morning, all. Thank you. Hope you can hear me well.
Yes.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you for that opportunity, Letsa. And I'm very excited to be here in the midst of all of you. Indonesia is very much a happening space. The cloud infrastructure or the cloud spend is increasing enormously. It is the fastest growing economy with respect to the IT infrastructure spend. And now is a better time to discuss about it for sure. And to join me in this discussion is Alex Budiyanto, Chairman of the Indonesia Cloud Computing Association. Welcome on board, Alex. And Megawaty, Khie, Country Director, Google Cloud Indonesia. Thank you both for joining in today. And without much further ado, let's get going. If you can flip to the first slide, please.
Maybe I should say good morning, everyone. Hope everybody is healthy and safe today.
Good morning, Megawaty. Thank you for joining in. Alex, are you there with us?
Yes. Good morning, Sabari. Good morning, Ibu Megawati.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Right. So let's get started. Right. We can see that there has been an accelerated digital transformation in the last, I would say, 18 to 24 months. Right? And what are the underlying reasons for the same? Why do you think it is happening? And is that the same pace you see that acceleration continuing over the next few years, right? Alex, I think you probably would have been doing a lot of research and connecting with a lot of companies in the region. Can you help us with some insights about what do you see from your end? We'll start with you first.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Sabari. Last month, we published our research about the current challenges of digital transformation of the public sector in Indonesia. This research is collaborated with the Indonesia Cloud Computing Association, the Faculty of Computer Science, the University of Indonesia, and the National Cyber and Crypto Agency, or BSSN. Our research respondents are public sector agencies in Indonesia, such as ministries, institutions, provincial government, or local government. All of them said that they are currently doing digital transformation in their institution. From the research, we agree that the COVID-19 pandemic has become a wake-up call for digital transformation in Indonesia. The challenges of digital transformation in Indonesia, based on our research, are lack of quantity and quality of human resource, policy and regulatory issues, security issues and privacy protection, IT infrastructure issues, and system and services integration. That's insight from our research, Sabari.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Thank you. That is very helpful. Megawaty, over to you. Happy to hear comments. I know you were talking in the earlier discussion as well about pandemic, the 4 Cs, etc. Help us a little bit more about it, please.
Okay, but first of all, if you allow me, I would like to wish all the females, all the women leaders in this call a happy International Women's Day across in Indonesia and across the world. I know that there's other participants from other countries in this call. I hope me being here can help to inspire more females, more women to participate in technology so that we can break the bias. Okay, that's my female app for now. But back to the topic, essentially because people now face the constraint, right? As you know, on having physical interactions with each other to refrain from being infected. So I think all of us are thinking even more creatively on how to continue our lives despite this constraint of not being able to meet face-to-face or interact physically, whether it's working, learning, shopping, banking, and many more. So I think we all now realize that because of technology, only with technology that our lives, our normal lives can kind of go on. So that's why collaboration and productivity tools, like I said earlier, are even more important right now to cater for people to continue their lives and make it as normal as we can. So this remote working and learning have changed the way we think and how we operate. And in fact, people are also rethinking about the priorities in life. So if you remember last time, we always put our work before our lives, even our families. Now we're doing the other way around, right? We are now putting our lives before work, and because we want to change the way that we perceive and how we are being perceived by our families. So the important things in life have changed in priorities, and we use technology to help us achieve that. And I would say that this trend will continue to move forward in the future as we try to make peace with the pandemic.
Oh, very much so. Absolutely. I think pandemic has certainly accelerated the transformation for sure. Right. We move on to the next topic, which is about the importance of cloud and why should companies really think about moving to cloud. Right? And obviously, digital transformation is all about more about adopting cloud. It requires a shift in terms of moving infra from on-premise to the cloud, right? And organizations typically, would have some challenges along the way when they want to do this transition, right? Megawaty, happy to hear from you around, what do your customers see? How are they feeling the challenges? And how do you think, these challenges could be overcome? Probably in this part of the session, let's focus purely on the difficulties and the challenges now.
Yeah, sure. I think the challenges is really mindset. People are used to be afraid. Oh, is it secure? Is it in Indonesia? Is it all this stuff, right? I think the mindset change is important. Like I said earlier, I think maybe 2 years ago, it's very different, Sabari, whereby even normal companies, whether private or public sector, they are very worried about putting on the cloud. They feel more secure. It's like money, if you, a long time ago, maybe people put their money under their bed, so that they're very secure. But now people put money in the banks, right? And you can grow interest out of it. So I think that the mindset, obstacle, I think needs to be broken by good examples. That's why we are very active in trying to show the way how people are able to change it and really benefit from cloud. So I think the other thing that I like to add is that because things are very unpredictable because of the pandemic, whether the supply chain, whether the customer or the consumer demands have changed. So cloud actually allows them to operate in a much more agile way, converting capital expenditure to operating expenditure. So it becomes more variable and it's better for their bottom line. I think the second thing is to focus on the main business, so that the infrastructure management can be outsourced to providers like us, like Google Cloud, and we can actually do it with scale. But not only that, I don't talk about lift and shift and stuff, but the third most important thing is that you can leverage the best technology outside, whereby you talk about data analytics, which is our main area of competency, whereby with data analytics, data is the new gold, right? The new oil, and with that you can drive AI, machine learning, and you don't need to have provide access capacity like the year end, month end, quarter end. You don't need that, so you're able to run that on your own. So I think with all this, we should be able to help companies by showing the way. It's like I said earlier, people don't ask about why cloud. People ask, I want to go to the cloud, but how do I go to the cloud? So we are responsible in the industry, along with Alex, to show the way, right? Because this is still a very early stage in Indonesia. Let's help this company's organization to move to the cloud so that they can harvest the benefits of innovation. Thank you.
Absolutely, very well said, Mega, because it's not a question of should I move to cloud, it's a question of how soon can I move to cloud, right?
Exactly.
And how organizations like Alex's and yours can help them in that transition. And also one important point, what you mentioned really is very important, which is about the 3 Ps, which is the process, the people, and the technology, right? The weakest link in the whole chain is the people chain, right? So we've got to work towards that mindset aspect, what you mentioned. We're very nicely said there. Thank you, Mega. Alex, happy to hear your comments on, what do you see in your research, with your discussions with the cloud computing companies as such?
Okay, thank you, Sabari. I agree with what Ibu Megawaty said there. And from our research, 67.7% have adopted cloud computing, and 32.3% is not yet adopted it. From our study, the main challenges related to cloud computing adoption are their concern about data access and control, security and privacy concern, regulatory issues, lack of technical competence, and then lack of knowledge related to cloud computing, lack of trust in cloud computing services, and then difficulty integrating cloud computing services with the other system that they are running. And the last is about unstable internet connection in some area in Indonesia. Yeah, that's from our research. Yeah.
Yeah, very important ones. I think so some very key aspects what you mentioned about regulatory issues and compliances, etc. Right. If I swiftly move on to the next topic, there are a lot of born in the cloud companies or companies who have really been the digital native companies. The famous ones, some of them, Gojek, Tokopedia, etc. and a few others. I think Mega, you mentioned in the earlier discussion as well. They are adopting a cloud-first strategy. Right. And aside to this, there are other traditional companies which are state-owned, government-owned organizations, which are typically, for example, some of them are in very regulated environment. They have the fear in their mind: will I be able to transition to cloud? Right. So that mindset is still there. And for example, regulated industries like financial services, telco, healthcare, these are some of the industry segments where there is still that fear. Right. I'm sure cloud has evolved over the years, whereby it is much more mature, it is much more robust, much more scalable, much more secure, etc. Right? And how do you think these organizations can benefit from the cloud and also being able to overcome some of the challenges what Alex was mentioning, which is about security, regulatory, and things like that? Megawaty, we'll start with you to hear your thoughts on it.
Sure. Thank you, Sabari. So I think essentially one of the biggest worry, like we talked earlier, right? Many people are worried about, is it secure? Is it compliant? Especially if they read a lot of news articles. I mean, the thing is that I can laugh about it sometimes because people only read what is being published, but you have not heard about the leakages that people have it privately, right? I mean, that's another topic altogether for another event. But if I can say like about the digital natives that you talk about, right? A lot of them, they start with the cloud. It's a cloud first mindset because of all the benefits that we talk about. So I will not want to repeat. But one thing for sure in Google, we take security and compliance very, very seriously. If I can share, so Google, we actually built our own servers from scratch. We also have what we call a defense in depth, whereby we have multi-layer security, whether it's from the chip, from the operating system, from the network, and data encryption. And as you know, because we run the world's largest traffic, if you think about it, don't think about Google Cloud as a company. Think about Google. The services that you use every day, Sabari, when you go to work. I know you're at home now, but when we used to go to work, we use Google Map. You watch YouTube, you do search. All of this are built on Google's infrastructure. And we use that technology to help our customers also. So in that sense, we put in the best reliability standards, the best security that we have to the customers. That's one. But secondly, because we're in Indonesia, as I said earlier, we're the first hyperscaler who launched our region, actually in 2020, not recently. So we are able to work through the regulations. We work with the central bank, with OJK, so that we understand the needs of our local regulation. And I also mentioned, we serve the largest bank in Indonesia, whether they are traditional banks or whether they are fintechs. Like I said, like Bank Rakyat Indonesia, Bank Raya, which is the digital bank of BRI, or Bank Jago, which is part of Gojek, or Bank Aladdin, which is the largest Sharia digital bank in Indonesia, to help the unbankable population. So we are compliant and we're very familiar with the regulation. We help our customers to make sure that we're compliant, but still, like I said, harvesting the benefits of the cloud. And other than banks, the other very regulated industry is healthcare. So I work with Peta Medica, which is the largest hospital chain, for data, patients' data, or biopharma, in which they are able to accelerate the harvesting of the vaccines. All of these are state-owned enterprises under the arm of the Ministry of Healthcare. So as you may know, some time ago, we actually worked with the Ministry of Healthcare to make sure that we help in addressing the COVID situation as well, using our technology. So not only about computing power that they're using, they're also using the data analytics capability, which is our true competency in Google because of our legacy in search. So those are the things that we have done, and we extensively reach out and understand the up and coming regulations. We help to hopefully to influence that. But at the end of the day, we want to help the customers to overcome the problems. It's not about another revenue, another dollar, to be frank, Sabri, which is very exciting to work in Google because we really want to help to improve the lives of Indonesians. Thank you.
Very well said, Mega. I think the topic, what you mentioned about working collaboratively with the government to ensure you give them the assurance that it is a lot more secure, use analytics to be able to benefit the humankind. That's a very nice statement. Thank you for that, Mega. Alex, I wanted to hear your thoughts about it. How do you see regulatory compliant related issues are overcome by some of these organizations? How is your organization helping them along the way as well?
Okay, Sabari. Currently in Indonesia, no regulation prohibit as long as the data center is in Indonesia. There are many local providers and global cloud providers that build data center in Indonesia, including Google. So as long as they choose and deploy the cloud computing services in Indonesia, it should be no problem there. And when we're talking about security and regulatory requirement, when we use cloud computing services, when we want to comply with security requirement, for example, the common security compliance in Indonesia are ISO 2001 and PCI DSS, where many cloud computing providers in Indonesia, both local and global providers, have met this requirement. That's all from Sabarit.
Cool, thank you. Absolutely. ISO 27001, PCI DSS, SOC 2, SOC 7. Yes, absolutely. There are quite a lot of these regulations helping bring that assurance to the customers that the data is safe. Absolutely. If we move on to the next question about, it is important for every organization who is adopting cloud to have the right skill set of people to be able to support that, because as I mentioned earlier, people are the weakest link in the whole chain. If you don't, all it requires is one rogue engineer to have some glitch in somewhere, as a result of which data could be exposed. It's important to ensure that people are certified, people are qualified to be able to support cloud, right? And what is the market happening? What is the market in Indonesia about? How is Indonesia able to adopt and meet this growing demand for this digital talent, right? What is happening in that space? Mega, would love to hear from you on this.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Sabari. This is a very interesting question, because every time I talk to executives, CEOs or CIOs about cloud, they say, can you help me to hire people? Can you send me candidates, resumes? Honestly, so I have to do jobs. I have to sell the Google Cloud, but I also have to provide candidates so that they can help to maintain. But there are two things that I like to share today of what we do from Google, okay? So the first one is that every year we have this program called Bangkit, okay? Bangkit is offered right now as a, light is off, can you see? As an accelerated program, and we provide certification together with the Ministry of Education and Culture in Indonesia. So every year we enroll about 3,000 university students across 3 learning paths. So what are these paths? So first one is TensorFlow machine learning, okay? Second is mobile development, of course, based on Android. And the third one is cloud computing. So this is the most popular courses, and we put them together. And we work with Tokopedia as well as Traveloka. And so what we do is that it is not a Google thing only, but we combine the strengths of our customers and work with the government to do so. So I've seen personally very inspiring stories, where people change lives because they've gone on this learning journey. And they've changed, to become IT managers when they did not have that capacity previously. And one of the things that I like to share is, after you've learned it, and some of you may say, hey, after I've learned all these skills, I want to start a company. How do I get my startup going? So We also have what we call the Google Accelerator for Startups. We started that with Southeast Asia, and because of the overwhelming demand in Indonesia, we started one especially for Indonesia. We also started for women's founders, of course, right? Because we find that disproportionately, women are not being favored as founders, and it's not only in Indonesia, it's across the world. So we take a special effort to make sure that we help and support female founders. So we, in this accelerator program, we provide not only technical and soft skills, but also mentorship. So myself, Sabari, I'm also a mentor for several startups, and we continue that relationship even today. So this programs allows Indonesians, whereby, like you said, it's the most exciting country in Southeast Asia. It allows Indonesians to be a participant of a digital economy and not just a spectator. It's very important so that people will feel involved and they feel that, hey, there's no social jealousy. Now, so working in Google becomes so inspiring for me personally because we can actually improve people's lives using technology. And this is so evident in many cases. So, yeah. So this is how we help the digital talent in Indonesia.
Very inspiring, Megawaty, I have to say, democratization of technology, as they say, where you empower common people with no code, low code platforms and empower them with the right tools to be able to make a change in their lives. That's absolutely fascinating and very nice to hear that you and your company Google are contributing to this initiative to meet the demand gap. Well done. Well done. Thank you. Alex, any thoughts from you? I'm afraid we're running out of time. I would love to hear some thoughts from you as well on this topic about digital talent.
Yes. Yes, I agree with Ibu Megawaty said, and in line with our results, the lack of quality and quantity of human resource will be still be significant issue today for several years to come. Currently, there are promising initiatives from Ministry of Communication and Information. For example, they have a digital talent scholarship program, and the Ministry of Education and Culture did the same thing through the Merdeka Campus program. However, in our opinion, it's not enough. There are still many initiatives that need to be carried out together, including the collaboration between the government, industry player, and the educational institution. We also carry out several joint initiatives and that are expected to improve the competitiveness and capability of human resource in Indonesia, and hopefully someday we can working together with Google to do initiative like this. That's from me, Sabari.
We are ready, Alex.
Yes, thank you.
Let's talk after this call, Pak.
Yeah, thank you, Mega.
Yeah, I think Alex, I have to agree with you that there still could be more collaboration with which more work could be done. Absolutely, fascinating exchange of thoughts, ladies and gentlemen. I'm afraid we've run out of time. Megawaty, happy to hear your insights, and Alex, thank you for their wonderful thoughts as well. And I do hope with some of the initiatives, whatever you guys have mentioned, we are able to fulfill that demand gap and also see Indonesia powering up to be a very digital powerhouse in Southeast Asia. On that note, back to you, Litsa.
Thank you so much. What a fantastic panel. And I have to agree, more women in tech. Thank you, Megawaty, for leading the way. And Alex, for your contributions. A really fantastic panel. I feel like we could keep going for another half an hour, but just giving people a little taste today for that. So a big thank you to all of our speakers today and everyone who's joined us. I hope you've enjoyed the conversations as much as I have. And should you wish to join more of our Digital Week events, our Thailand and Philippines event will begin this afternoon, 2:30 p.m. Philippines